This is a presentation on future-proof workspaces. If it's just a small group of us here, let's make it a dialogue as we go through it. And I think there's a lot of good information here that hopefully you'll be able to use and reuse. And by all means, feel free to steal any of these slides once they're published. I do that as well. The IMCCA is the Interactive Multimedia and Collaborative Communications Alliance. I've been an executive board member for over 2 decades. They've been around for more than, close to 30 years at this point, as the nonprofit organization for the collaboration industry. By all means, visit the booth upstairs if you can and join. It's free for end users, good organization. We put on a lot of good educational programs like this one. And this is information about me, more information than my family even cares about. I've been doing this for 46 years. Gee. I'm now an analyst with a company called Talking Points, with a Z, talkingpoints.com. By all means, take a look at what we do. We've got some great content out there, and this is all the other stuff that I do and have done. All right, so let's talk about Office. If you close your eyes and think about going to an office, you have to imagine what the picture is that you have in your head. It's probably something like this if you're as old as I am. I think that first picture is from Wolf of Wall Street, right? But that's what offices used to look like. They were meant for density. They were open plan. There weren't really a lot of collaborative spaces. You saw a lot of exposed ceilings, a lot of wiring going all over the place. It was really for function. So nobody really cared about what it looked like or what it felt like to be there. And then we were all told, go home. Don't come into the office. Keep your distance. Don't visit friends. Don't go to work unless you're providing essential services. We all lived through the pandemic, which is finally over. But it forced us to realize businesses didn't stop. Organizations didn't stop working. The collaboration industry took off like a rocket. Zoom became a verb, as Chris Netto said up here. I think he stole it from me, or I stole it from him. I don't remember. My grandparents now know what I do for a living. They never really understood it before. So we're more aware of what collaboration is and collaboration does and how all of that works. But we're dealing with this tug of war between the employees we have now, post-pandemic, and the employees that there used to be working in the office. There are a lot of people who want people to return to the way it was, return to the office, return to desks, return to management. And there are employees who are saying, no, I found a different way to live, and we want everybody to adapt and be with this new way. And you're seeing this in the news, you're seeing this in a lot of places everywhere where this keeps popping up. If we're going to be designing offices for this group of people, for the people that lived through the pandemic, for the people that want to work on the future of their lives, we have to design them differently. And I'm not going to give you floor plans. Well, actually, there is a floor plan up there, but I'm not going to give you details. I'm going to give you the guidelines around what we should really be doing. A future-proof design has a different vibe. It's a different kind of office. When you walk into it, it's not the same office that we've been working in for so long. It feels different. There's emphasis on natural light. There's emphasis on biophilic elements, plants, things that grow, sustainable materials. And one major difference, if you think about it from our position, from the idea of technologists, is it's not just got technology overlaid into the place. Nobody's slapping on a camera. Nobody's putting in a system. Nobody's running wires all over the place. Technology in this new style of office is actually embedded. It feels like the technology is part of what's going on. It's been thought out. And that's one of the key tenets, so we'll keep coming back to that. When you're talking about designing a future-proof office, a future-proof layout is one that has the ability to grow with changing needs. If you take a look there, do I have a laser on here? Let's see. No, yes. If you take a look, that's how we used to have offices, in terms of representation. A lot of small desks crammed together. The spaces need to flip. It used to be 30% for group work and 70% for individual work, and now it's completely flipped. Now it's 70% for group work, nice big open spaces, airy spaces. There are some touchdown desks in some areas. Amelia went into this into her presentation before, but the idea is to build this for flexibility, build a layout that's a lot easier to work with and a lot easier to change, designed for groups to come together. Why are we going to an office? We're not going to an office to sit down at a desk and do a Zoom call or type a purchase order that we could have done from our computer at home. We're going to an office, whether it's 1 day a week or 5 days a week, to be with other people. So the design of the office needs to support group work and being able to get together and do group things. Does it make sense to you guys as I keep talking? Any nods with you? Okay. These are the changes if you really want to talk about what's happened at an office. We went from doing individual work at desks to doing, yes, sir.
Sorry, on the previous slide, so do you distinguish between group work and meetings at which information is presented and decisions are made?
That's a great question. The answer is sort of. The idea of making the trip, whether it's 5 minutes or 2 hours to get to an office, is to communicate with other people. During the course of a day or 2 days or 3 days when you're in the office, you may have to be in a meeting room because you may have to be part of a group taking a meeting, but that's not the point. If you can just as easily attend that meeting from your kitchen at home or from your hotel when you're attending a conference, the meeting space in that application is just a convenience. The room needs to be built so that you can brainstorm with the other people in the room, so that you can share whiteboards, so that you can ideate, so that the people on the far end can see it. The design of the space is, look, if I'm coming here already, what's the point? What am I doing with my other people? So there may be touchdown desks. And if you, I'm sorry, I should be using the microphone. If you go upstairs to the IMCCA booth, we have 3 examples of technology that were given to us by Cisco to show how you can create a touchdown environment in an office for an individual meeting. So I can come into the meeting so that we can all have lunch and ideate for 2 hours, but then I've got to take a meeting with another person, so I'm going to go use this device sitting in this phone booth or in this little private touchdown space. So the meeting room should be geared more for how to communicate with the people in the room, but also be allowed to do video for remote people as well. Does that kind of answer the question? So again, these are the comparisons. We're doing more group and collaborative work. That's the point of an office, the point of going in somewhere than individual work. In terms of, we used to have a low number of expensive meeting rooms. I can remember doing floor plans for financial services companies where we were talking about each floor would have 5 conference rooms and one of them would be equipped for video. And the video one would be $80,000, $100,000 to build. The other ones would simply have, the speakerphone sitting on the middle of the table. And so we'd have a low number of expensively equipped rooms. And we switched that over now to a high number of inexpensively equipped rooms. Now we need to be able to make sure that all 5 of the rooms on the floor, and actually it should be more like 10 of those rooms, every one of them can do a video call. Every one of them can share a screen. But it didn't cost $80,000. Sometimes it costs 2 or 3 or 4. So we're getting more penetration of the gear, less expensive, but in more rooms. Instead of, I lived through in the late 90s and early 2000s the concept of densification. Let's not give everybody cubicles anymore. Now let's give them long rows of benches and put them next to each other. And we're done with densification. We don't want to be near anybody. I don't want to catch whatever the next virus is. Now we need to have desks that are available for hot desking or hoteling or whatever the term is, so when you go into the office, you need a touchdown space when you're not on the meeting. You can claim that. You can either use your mobile phone with a QR code, or you can go onto an application and say, I'm going to be in today. What desks are available? Where are my colleagues sitting? And you'll be able to have a desk assigned to you for that day on those touchdown desks. Again, the description I had before, technology was overlaid. We're going to design these beautiful rooms with this gorgeous lighting and these glass walls and these ceilings. Oh, and by the way, AV people come in, we need you to put some AV into this room. Now it's, well, what's the purpose of the room? If we're going to have to deal with remote people or whiteboard or do some other type of ideation or do some other kind of sharing, let's get that embedded into the design of the room. It's inherent in the design, and it doesn't upset the fact that we're using natural lighting and natural tones. So there's some great technology, again, from one of the large manufacturers that actually uses light sensors in the room with big windows so that when there's a lot of natural light coming in, it doesn't keep the room lighting on. It keeps the room lighting dim. It doesn't waste the energy. But when there isn't a lot of natural light coming in, it raises the light. And the color temperature of the lights match the windows. And that's all happening automatically now, inherent in the design. Again, management by walking around, which is again something that was in the prior presentation, it doesn't exist anymore. It now needs to be the ability to manage a hybrid workforce. And instead of having simple, plain layouts, long rows of benches, of cubicles, a few private offices, and a conference room that could be any company anywhere in the world, we now want people to want to come to the office. You've heard the expression magnet, not mandate, but do you want to be there? Is the office that you're going to, is the company that you're working for creating a space that you want to go to? I mean, take a look at some of these pictures of some modern offices. You know, you close your eyes, you ask the employees to close their eyes and say, think of your office. Is it a place where you like to be? Do you feel good there? Or is it a place that you dread going to? You know, it's where ideas go to die. The inspiration needs to be part of the design now. It's not hard, it's not any more expensive. Future-proof designs also require modern AV gear. What we're able to do now with video conferencing, with embedded AI, which is more machine learning than generative AI, with some AI algorithms around audio, with automatic direction, whether it's in the cloud or in your devices, all of that has only come about since the pandemic. You know, the 3, 4 years, 5 years old. So if you're going into a company that's using conferencing equipment and collaboration gear in their rooms that's older than 3 or 4 or 5 years, you're already dealing with gear that doesn't have the new advanced features. Even if you're dealing with a cloud provider that's giving you some advanced features in the cloud, you're already dealing with items that are too expensive, outdated, and don't have the latest features. So the idea of being able to take a meeting, which used to look like the picture on the top, and turn it for remote people into the picture on the bottom is something offered by many applications, many technology providers, many cloud providers, and it's a night and day difference. You can see the eyes and the facial expressions of the people in that, and again, that's only been around for the last 3 or 4 years. So if a company has not modernized their equipment, they're not getting any of that. And it democratizes the meeting. Every meeting now that's going to take place in any modern organization that's in multiple locations will have at least one remote participant, every meeting. And if the remote participant is going to see the top image and not the bottom image, there isn't going to be a lot of meeting equity that takes place. There isn't going to be a lot of free-flowing expressions. People aren't going to feel like they're part of the meeting. So the time to refresh gear is now. And again, if you walk into a client or if it's your company and you look and you haven't refreshed the gear in the last 3 or so years, the time to do it is now. It's less expensive, it's more reliable, and it's got all of these features. And then we have this. Anybody know what that is? Yes?
Soundbar, video console bar.
Video bar. Yep, that's a video bar. I was at another trade show in June that we were probably all at, and I stopped counting the companies that were making them. It was easier to give you a list of the companies that aren't making them. The technology has finally got to the point. I used to hate that. I used to call that soda cracker video conferencing because it looked like a cracker box with a soda can on it. But anyway, the technology is now at the point where in a medium-sized room, that does a really nice job. It's got a speaker in it, it's got a microphone array in it, it's got a camera in it. If you're talking about a room that's between 10 and 20 feet long, whatever the shape is, the camera, it's an EPTZ, you don't have a mechanical thing moving around, you don't hear it, you're not distracted. It makes some really nice shots. There are so many of them on the market right now, I won't even bother to list it. And some of them have a control panel and some don't, and some of that's the requirement of getting certification from the company that makes it. So future-proof designs are going to use a lot of these. $2,000, $3,000 drop in a room, and all of a sudden you're equipped for everything that you need. And then I've been dying to say this ever since I put this slide deck together. But wait, there's more. These things are going to be the new sensor for enterprise spaces. It's converging with building management systems and with other things because they're going to tell you the temperature of the room. They're going to tell you the humidity in the room. They're going to tell you what the CO2 levels are, and there's some debate as to whether or not that's a valuable bit of data to have. But if you don't have enough oxygen, I've worked with consultants over the years who use up all the oxygen in the space, so I can kind of get where people are coming from that. It's also a room occupancy sensor. Some of them, and this is a debate, or at least it's something that's a debate in my mind. Some of the manufacturers today, including one that's upstairs, I haven't seen if Crestron has their Video Bar 70 here. I assume they do. They're one of the people that are making this with an automatic shutter. So if you're in a call, it opens up and you can see the camera. In their case, there are 4 camera elements there. And when you're not in a call, it closes. They're not the only ones. D10's another company that's making with the shutter opening automatic. So the call determines whether the lens is open. I'm not sure that that's going to stick around very long. It does make people feel better about privacy, although it doesn't stop them from like putting pieces of paper or coffee cups in front of the lens, because that's what people do. But when it's open all the time, when it's open during a call, your call management platforms can tell you, hey, you know, you were in a call from 12 o'clock to 12:15. There were 5 people in the room. There were 10 people on the remote side. That's how the room was utilized. When you're not in a call, there are systems out there now that are using that as a room occupancy sensor all the time. So it doesn't matter if you're on a Microsoft Teams call and you're only managing yourself through Teams, or you're on a Zoom call and you're managing yourself through Zoom. Yes, those are giving you great data. This is completely separate from video calling. That's a room sensor. Do you have a room that you've built that holds 30 people and most of the time there are 3 people in it? That'll give you the information. Maybe you built the room the wrong size. Maybe you need to move that gear somewhere else where it can be used better. Maybe you need to find out why that room isn't being used. Maybe you don't need the room anymore. Maybe you don't need the building anymore. So that kind of people counting, room utilization, and then the awakened standby, that's something that's come to the enterprise now, which is, you know, we've all talked about Energy Star and how to keep, you know, displays on and off and how to have them turn on. There have been sensors. You don't need any of the sensors in the ceiling anymore. If you walk in, if it sees a face, first of all, arguably it can detect the face, but let's not go with that. But if it sees a face, it says, all right, I better wake up the gear, somebody in the room. Maybe I'm going to ask you the question, hey, Dave, I recognize it's you. I see you got a call in 15 minutes. Do you want me to start it for you? That's the future we're going to for this. That simple soda cracker device is now going to become one of the most integral devices. And it's still, by the way, all those, but wait, there's more of those features. It's still $2,500, $2,000, $3,000 to put that in a room, plus or minus whatever accessories you're getting. And you're getting all of those features. Okay, back to the idea of future-proofing. Future-proofing must have versatility. If you're buying a product, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday in one of the other sessions, if you're buying a product that works on one platform and it only will work on that platform, then that's probably not a good idea, because then you're locked in. We had one of our colleagues walk into the room today talking about her Verizon phone isn't working, so she had to get another phone with AT&T. Wouldn't it be nice if she could buy a phone and have it work with whatever platform she wants? Well, if you're buying a video conferencing device or a collaboration device that's made for any, these are the top 4, and there are others as well. You know, there's RingCentral and 8x8, and there's some other things, Tencent in Asia, but you know, Zoom, Teams, WebEx, and Google Meet are the 4 big conferencing platforms that are in use in the cloud nowadays, and you should be buying gear that works for all of them, or at least give you more than one so that you can do it. We're not, for business reasons, which is unfortunate and regrettable, but the truth, for business reasons, you can't make a Zoom call and then make a Teams call on a device. They won't let you natively do that. They'll give you ways of connecting, but you can't have it be native one and then native the other. Even though it works in the lab, nobody's going to allow that to happen. But you should be able to at least reboot the gear into some other mode. All of a sudden, you know, you're with platform A, and platform B comes knocking at your door and says, you know what, I'm going to give you a deal. I'm going to give you the same services platform A is giving you, but I'm going to give it to you for 1/3 of the cost. Maybe you want to make that decision, and you don't want to have to rip and replace all your gear. So you want to make sure it's available, it can support multiple platforms. You want to make sure that whatever solutions you do, and you know, I've built every type of room. Here's the pointer again. There we go. I've built every type of room that you see on this. That, you know, that Microsoft spoke to me the other day. They're saying they call this a guitar pick design. I've referred to this generally as a splay table, kind of that, but a little bit different. You know, whichever one, you want to make sure that you're putting in a system that can see the closest chair and see the furthest chair, and that people can hear the sound, and people can be heard when they speak. And there are various solutions across all of the audio and video to do that, which include, if I put a speaker, just one of those soda cracker video bars in front of the room, and I have to make it loud enough for the last chair to hear it, am I making it too loud for the first chair to hear it? So maybe I want distributed speakers, maybe I want to do a more complicated installation. Same thing for microphones. Is a microphone array in the front of the room enough, or do I need distributed microphones? Great microphone technology coming out nowadays where you can take in a room that has reverberation and walls and somebody speaking off axis on microphone, and AI will fix it, but you still need the microphones in the room. So giving yourself the ability to grow in terms of layout, in terms of support for multiple platforms and capabilities is one of the most important parts of future-proofing designs, making sure that you have the versatile and scalable technology. And if you're buying a system that only works up to 10 feet, know that. Know that you can't move it into a room that has 15 or 20 feet. The idea that these spaces now need to have grandeur, need to have something that you can go into, that you can change the layout, that you can reverse it, that you can collaborate, whether you're meeting in a room and writing on the walls or meeting in a space where, you know, you can take, hey, let's pull some chairs together and have an ad hoc meeting. You know, this is a room that's set up classroom style that we're in right now, but could we push the tables aside and put all the chairs in a circle? You know, do we have that flexibility? Do we have that design? And what does it look like? If we put all the chairs in a circle in this room, we look like we're in an auditorium with a chair in circles. Do we have a space that can look pretty and beautiful and be able to work versatilely as well? So these are the types of environments, the hybrid work environments, that I would suggest for most spaces. And then we were talking about smart office design and smart office strategy. We actually have that device upstairs if you want to go take a look at it on the trade show floor. But you can, as I said, go to your telephone, your device, your smart device, your computer at home and say, you know, my teammates and I are looking to come into the office to collaborate for 2 days. What days are there spaces available? Okay, those are the days that the spaces are available. Then do we have desks? Can we get a cluster of desks so I can sit by my colleagues? Or we can all sit by the window or whatever. And you can work all of that out. And then when you walk in, the phone has your name on it, and it has your speed dials on it, and your video device has your calls. It knows you have a 12 o'clock and a 1 o'clock, and you've personalized that space, and you've done it offline automatically. And then on the left there, that's what I was telling you about in terms of the automatic sensors, taking a look for whether somebody is in the room. Should I be using the lights? Is there enough outdoor lighting so I don't need to supplement it with indoor lighting? You know, and all of these things, while convenience, are also a tremendous cost savings. You know, you're not utilizing the energy, you're not wasting it, you know, carbon offset, all the rest of it. It's really good. And then every collaboration device you should be installing nowadays in rooms should also be digital signage. It's all built in, it's no extra charge. You might have to get a platform to distribute the information, but why do you want to put in you know, separate signs when you can tell everybody that tomorrow's a holiday off and here's when we're going to have the all-hands meeting and this is the lunchroom menu. Everything can do it that way. So a lot of sustainability, cost savings, and every collaboration display is a digital signage. Now I'm going to do just a couple of minutes on this. I don't want to spend a lot of time here because this is actually a presentation that I'm giving tomorrow. But post-pandemic requires that you look at the design of remote offices as well. One of the most important things that I learned during the pandemic, and this has been shown in study after study, is that when you have a place to work remotely, it needs to be a place to work. I need to go somewhere where my wife and my kids know I'm at work, where my pets know I'm at work, where I know in my mind that I'm at work. I'm now in a location where I'm working, so I have a desk for that. I won't hesitate taking a call from a colleague or answering an email from my phone if I'm, you know, preparing dinner, or if I'm out at a baseball game or whatever I'm doing. I'm that kind of person. I like to be involved, but I'm not working. I'm just helping a colleague. When I'm sitting down at my desk, I'm working, so I need to have a location. I can't just be doing this in the kitchen or in a guest room bed or something like that. And we talk about some of the design. This is the 12-step program to how to design a good work-from-home office. I won't give you the details of this. The presentation is available. It's actually available in an article if you go to, well, I'm definitely button challenged today. There we go. If you go there, tinyurl.com, 12-step WFH, that is where you can take a look at the article where I detail all of this. But again, that's a session that we're giving on Friday. I'll be here, and I will go through each one of those 12 points to talk about what the advantage and disadvantages of each one of these aspects of the design. But it's not just our offices that we need to future-proof. It's our home offices. It's our remote locations. That's part of the equation as well. Because to have an equitable meeting experience, you need to make sure that all parts of the conversation are using the right technology, using the right lighting, and making things work correctly. And then this is one of the important things. This is the caveat emptor slide. This is one of the largest commercial real estate companies in the world. They're overly invested in making sure people return to the office. They want to have you back there because the cost of their real estate is dropping and dying. It's something we're going to be talking about on the Smart Stage in about an hour. But if you go to their website right now, they're going to tell you that the hybrid workplace is here to stay and we're the experts in it. So the pandemic has given birth to a lot of self-proclaimed experts in the space. And as Amelia said, and I don't know if I stole your slide on this one, but I probably stole it for the next one size does not always fit all. You have to make sure that you're talking to somebody that has actually made these designs successful, not a company that's trying to look successful because it's their job to do something else. So buyer beware. And that's the concept of future-proofing offices. I went through it quickly. We're a small group today. I'm wondering if any of you guys have any comments or any questions or anything else you'd like to talk about any of these slides. I'm happy to chat with you about it. Do we have a sound effect of crickets? Anybody do that? Okay, thank you guys very much. I really do appreciate it. Again, all of these decks will be available. This whole presentation will be available as a video. And if you'd like to explore any more of these concepts, in addition to the other sessions that we talked about at the show, feel free to reach out to me. There's my email. I'm always available, and I'm happy to chat with anybody in the industry. If you're not connected to me on LinkedIn, please do. You should be. Thanks a lot.